So you found the skeleton. How would you tell if it's a dinosaur? You personally, how would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome to Dapper Reacts. What is it, 27? I think it's 27. Yes, it is. From goo to the zoo to you, because of course we're talking about David Reeves, and that's the kind of thing he likes to say. And I am, of course, as typical, here with Vishanti, who I apparently am not showing because I am, I'm bad at this. That's what we're gonna go with. I am bad at this. But now she's up there.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And of course, Vishanti today is riding what you might know as an axolotl.
Yes.
Yes, axolotl, which is the proper way to say axolotl.
Yes.
Because of
once
course,
you learn how to pronounce it correctly in like Mexica and Nahuatl, it kind of hurts your ears to hear people say "lotl," and you're just like, ugh.
Yeah. And yes, there was a puppy noise. There.
Puppy.
Yeah, there's puppies, and two of the puppies don't super get along, and one of them is just not getting over it, and the other one is just like completely like, oh, I'm fine, everything's cool. The other one is just like, nope, the existence of this other animal deeply offends me. So yeah, they'll probably bark here and there. Basically, a new puppy entered the mix, and the oldest of the puppies is not happy about it. And when I say the oldest of the puppies, I mean she's like 13. So, you know, she's an old lady.
She can be cranky.
Yeah, she's
earned it.
She doesn't appreciate having like a 6-month-old puppy in the house, especially not
Darn
one
whippersnapper.
Right, especially not one that outweighs her by like 4 or 5 times. So you know, it's a tough life when you're a small elderly dog. Anyway, we're not really here to talk about that, guys. We are here to talk about Dave Reeves. So we're not doing the drinking rules because it's Saturday, and I don't have any booze, and quite frankly, I don't really want to. So we're just going to dive into this, unless, Vishanti, you have anything else that you want to add?
No, I'm just trying to get through this bizarre allergy, congestion, whatever, with the help of some pseudoephedrine. Yay!
Hooray! Oh, also, in holiday news, it's Passover, so happy Passover if you're celebrating. And if you're...
See!
And if for you...
crazy breathing. See, is the Pesach! Hatsameach!
There you go. And also, it is Holy Saturday. It's Holy Saturday for the majority of Christians this week. So if you are celebrating Easter tomorrow, then an early happy Easter. And if you are celebrating Easter next week, I will wish you a happy Easter then, not now. So, you know, stay tuned for that, because as some of you might know, the other Easter is next week.
Yes.
All
liturgical calendars.
Yay! And also, Easter starts at sunset on Saturday, everybody. Because again, liturgical calendars.
Yeah, right. Sandino Flores in the chat says plushies of ajolotes are the best. And yes, they are. It is a very cute salamander.
They are one of the cutest. Mostly because they never grow up.
Yeah, basically.
Alright, but we're going to hit play on David Reeves. And also, Pelagic Tunicate for €2 says, please spread love to Dapper Dinosaur from Pelagic Tunicate. Thank you very much.
Incredible. Oh, I also have Blahai.
Oh.
Also a very good plush, I agree.
Alright. And here we go. Unfortunately.
The entire scriptures are gone to dust.
Oh, that's if you get rid of Genesis for some reason, apparently.
Oh.
Right. Because remember, this guy seems to think that all of these 66 books in his Bible, because I can guarantee you he's using a 66 Bible, are all like one work by a single author with a single voice and a single position, and that they all rise or fall together. Which is a weird stance.
Univocality.
Yeah, which is a weird stance to take, and is not supported by, like, history in the least.
Also, wasn't it Arius or Marcion that completely excised the entire Hebrew Bible and was like, nah, we'll just take most of Paul's letters and the Gospels and we're good?
Oh, he didn't even take all the Gospels, but yeah, it was Marcion.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Yep. Marie BCFHS for 20,000 Vietnamese dong says, should I change my channel name to Tittlelack? So for those of you who don't know, that's because Andrew Snelling apparently can't say Tiktaalik and says Tittlelack, and I mean, I would find it hilarious, especially if you change your profile picture to like a deformed Tiktaalik or something. And then yeah, I mean, go for it.
Hang on, let me chew this matzo real quick.
Okay. I hope
it's all for time.
I'm sure that this is delicious matzah because Vishanti here has been raving about what a great matzah chef she is, which of course she's just like Moses in being the most humble man on earth.
Correct. I too am the most humble man on earth. So, okay. You know how there's those statues of Artemis of Ephesus with like just way too many breasts?
Yes. Oddly, sometimes an odd number of breasts.
Yes. They might be testes, we're not really sure. But that's what you should do to the Tiktaalik.
Just boobs everywhere?
It needs to just be very cursed.
Goodness.
It needs to be an unholy abomination.
Well, speaking of which, here's David Reeves.
That is the relevance of this issue. Did Jesus teach with the same foundation? Yes, he did. He said, if you would have believed Moses, writing in Genesis, you would have believed in me. Because Moses, guess what? He was writing about me. Moses, writing about Jesus Christ all the way in the New Testament.
I think I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. I don't really care what this guy has to say about what Jesus was saying. Yeah,
absolutely. Wonders of modern science. Ooh. He discovered...
Liz D nailed it. Liz D says, teats plus lactation equals Tittlelack.
Yeah, no, that's true. That is true.
That is correct.
That is how it works. All right, let's hear what he has to say about Galileo Galilei, because at least that's not going to be directly claims about the, like the Bible. And Fearmonger Official, who has been a member for 5 months and is at the tetrapod level, thank you very much for being a member, the Fearmonger Official. Or should it just be Fearmonger Official, like in direct address? I don't know, let me know. Let me know which one would be better for you in direct address with the article or no. Says, okay, wait, hold on. AIG, alright, so everybody hates... Everybody hates the animal that AIG knows? Oh, wait, no, AI... Oh, that... I'm working on this, hold on.
Processing.
Everybody... Okay. Everybody hates AIG... that knows a long animal? Yeah, that's what that literally means. What are we going for here, the Fearmonger Official? Because what I'm getting out of that is everybody
hates... bag dicks.
Yeah, but, I mean, there's a word for penis. It's in Shep.
I'm just going to interpret it very, like, metaphorically and poetically.
Okay. Okay. I mean, show. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, just type out what you want in English, and I'll see what I can do with try to get that. Because I see what you're trying to go for, but I think there might be better ways to go about doing it. But here we go. Galileo.
Four of Jupiter's largest moons. He's known as the father of modern observational astronomy, which I'm particularly passionate about. He said mathematics is the language.
Yeah, it is pretty sweet. I think we can all agree that observational astronomy is pretty badass.
Space is cool.
Space is cool. That's why I live there.
With which God has written the universe.
Oh, everybody hates
this
that.
Just in. Some people were theists that did science.
Yeah. By the way,
More at 11.
For the Fearmonger Official, everybody hates that AIG eats long meat. So, because you have 2 clauses in there, right? What you're going to want to do is you're going to go with the AIG eats long meat. So, like, AIG, whatever, then you're gonna put in the pronoun e, mush hoch. So there you go.
Remember those pleasure tunicates?
No, post darn tetrapods, because Zebo1994 has joined the channel membership at Tetrapod. Thank you very much. Welcome to the channel memberships. Make sure that you tie your Discord to your YouTube using the settings on your Discord with connections, and add your YouTube account, and that will automatically add you to the Discord. Here we go. More of this guy.
So let's look at a few more wonders. Let's look at Leonardo Fibonacci. Fibonacci was an Italian mathematician who traveled with his father to northern Africa, and there he became familiar with the Arabic numeral system. So he said, well, this is really cool. We can do some neat things with math.
Make a point, David Reeves. What are you talking about?
Yes, math is also cool. What's your point, Vanessa?
Seriously.
Now that we've simplified things, because he was used to the Roman numeral system, right? If you wanted to write 57, oh, that was a bunch of I's and V's and X's and everything.
I mean, it's
no,
one
it was
L.
only 2 I's and 1 V.
Yeah, and one L.
Oh, like what?
Look, I'm not going to say that Roman numerals aren't less convenient than what we call Arabic numerals, even though Arabs have a different variety of them. But, like, Roman numerals aren't that bad. At least up until, like, 3,000.
They're just unwieldy.
Yeah. For any number basically below 3,000, they're really not that bad.
Yeah.
Everything you can think, right? And so he's like, oh, wow, we can just kind of scratch out some things in Arabic numerals and characters and practice maths. And he started working on this thing. It was a sequence of numbers where each number is the sum of the previous two numbers. Now, that sounds complicated.
Yes, the Fibonacci sequence. That's very cool. What's your point?
I like how he says, no, that sounds complicated. It's like, no, that's about as simple as it gets, actually.
Yeah.
That's pretty darn basic. I added 2 numbers, and then I added the new number to the previous number. Okay.
Hey.
Math, but that's pretty simple. 1 + 1 is, and I need you to help me out with this. 1 + 1 is?
You know, I believe him that he needs help with that.
Honestly, I am very tempted to make some dunks here about 1 + 1, but I should probably keep them to myself.
Are they Shmuel Pollen-based dunks?
One of them is.
Okay. In case you guys don't know, Shmuel Pollen wrote a book called All In for God, in which he says that math is bullshit, because if you take 2 clay balls and squish them together into a bigger clay ball, then 1 + 1 = 1. So take that. Oh, okay. Sure. Oh, Shmuel.
Yeah.
So we take the last 2 numbers. 1 + 2 is 3. Now let's take those 2 numbers. 2 + 3 is
no,
5.
Mildeborn. 1 + 1 is not 3. 1 + 1 is 1.
Yeah, obviously, because of clay balls.
Well, also because, like, if you're a Trinitarian, you believe that 3 individual persons are also one single entity, and I'm like, how do you count to 3? Well, you count to 1. Okay.
We gotta do it more than once.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let me count. 1, 2, 3. Nope, that's 1. Oh. Got it.
And then we keep going. 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, and so on. So he proposes this sequence of numbers.
Okay.
And whoop-de-doodle-doo. Why should we be concerned about that?
The best question I've heard him ask. Why should we be?
It's just a fun thing you can do on a piece of paper, and it just keeps going and going and going. Until we started to find this exact same mathematical sequence throughout the natural world. I put natural in air quotes.
Okay, we're getting into a point.
This is a pineapple. The pineapple has ridges, and if we were to count the ridges on a pineapple, what we would realize is that one way we would count 8 ridges, and the other way we would count 13 ridges. Well, guess what? Both 8 and 13 are in the Fibonacci sequence.
Okay, so
Goodness.
let's talk about space-filling spirals, right? So, you guys are probably aware that patterns in organisms are genetically determined by various genes that describe how organisms will grow. Now, there are different genes in different organisms. You know, plants don't share the same genetic architecture as humans, which is why that's seen in Annihilation, where they're like, the bushes have human Hawks genes, because now they look like, you know, topiary statues of humans. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Sorry, Annihilation, I like you as a film, but that scene was really dumb. Anyway, so These genes will determine the rate and frequency at which things grow and divide, bud, die, things like that, right? So this pattern of spiraling is genetically determined. You can actually have mutations that will change the pattern and change the angle at which the spiral grows, right? But why is it plants converge on these close to Fibonacci type spirals or these golden ratio spirals? Because it fills up the available space best. That's it. Any other option is less favorable according to natural selection because it's a waste of resources. And you can actually see this yourself. There are like applets that you can find on the web that will let you experiment with space filling in spirals. And you will find that the only numbers that work well are ones that happen to be close to the sequence. So there you go. That's literally all it is. All it requires is just a little bit of natural selection, and plants that use spiral shapes in things like, fruit, which is a big place where they want to do things like, put as many pollen bearing options or as many petals on their flowers or whatever like that in as little space as possible. They have to settle on this. The fact that math exists and that spirals have properties, I don't think is direct evidence of God. I don't know. Maybe it is. What do you think?
I think pineapples are native to Mexico.
I believe that is correct. Although,
it is. I looked it up.
Okay. I've only been to Hawaiian pineapple plantations, though.
My excuse me, my horizit this year was made up of ingredients native to Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was dragon fruit, pineapple, walnuts, and plantain.
Are walnuts native to Mexico?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, if I had to guess, I would have said that walnuts are probably an old world plant, but hey.
They are.
Wait, then how are they native to Mexico?
Oh, sorry, New World. My Zyrtec is messing with my brain.
Oh, okay, I was like, wait, I'm so confused.
It's like, no, my brain... Well, if you're an ancient alien conspiracist. Or Graham Hancock. Goodness. But yeah, I put all that stuff in there, and then I added honey to kind of give it a little more pop, and it was delicious.
Nice. Also, Astral Nekomimi says that this is like hexagons or the bestagons, and also Johnny Rapine said something similar. Actually, I think Astral Nekomimi was responding. And yeah, it's actually the same kind of thing, right? So like when bees go around making their hives, they actually move in a circular pattern to make the cells in the hive structure. But because of the way that they put 6 circles around each circle, that pulls it into an hexagonal shape because that's the best safe saving space option for them to tile a surface in hive structure. It's not some special thing that like, oh, bees know what hexagons are. They actually just start out making circles and they keep making circles, but the circles end up being hexagonal as the various pressures
It happens with bubbles too. If you start putting a bunch of bubbles next to each other and they all start sticking, they make hexagons.
Yeah, all over nature there's this tendency to seek the lowest energy option. And Fibonacci spirals, hexagons, these are things that repeat themselves all over the place. It's also why you get like hexagonal columnar lava, which you can see probably most famously at the Giant's Causeway in Ireland. So yes, the fact that lowest energy states recur more than once throughout nature, I don't think that is on its own direct evidence that God created pineapples. Especially since we're pretty sure pineapples were human created for the most part.
I need to correct myself slightly.
Uh-oh.
Thank you, Mark Smith, for specifying black walnuts are New World in origin, not just walnuts by themselves. Thank you for making me clarify that.
So there are old world walnuts?
Yeah, there's Persian walnuts. It's like there's I can't remember the Latin. There's like one type that originated in Persia and the other one that originated in North America. So.
Interesting. Also, I'm hoping that no one can hear the air conditioning. Today is the day that we switched from having the heater on to the air conditioning on, because today started out at about 5 degrees Celsius, and it's going to end out at about 35 degrees Celsius. So hooray! Yes, and then it's going to get hotter. Like I think by like next week, we're going to be like somewhere hanging out in like the low 40s.
The temperatures out here in Southern California have been really crazy, as you can probably hear me being congested. It's been in the 40s at night. It's been in the upper 60s to mid 70s during the day. It actually hit 80, I think, the other day, and it is just My body's not coping.
That would be 80 Fahrenheit, not 80 Celsius.
Yes,
Definitely
thank you.
did not hit
for
80
the-
Celsius.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah.
We'd be dead.
Yes, that would be bad. All right, here we go.
Coincidence.
No, it's not a coincidence. It's space saving. But...
And then we started looking at the center of the sunflower, which have all of these seeds in a spiral or a rows of spirals. Well, you start to count those rows of spirals. One way, you're going to count 34. The other way, you will count 55. Well, guess what? Both of those are in the Fibonacci sequence. Coincidence?
Okay.
No, it's not
What's
a
your
coincidence. That's
Is it just patterns therefore God?
yeah, which is a new one, I think. I don't think we
goodness.
have that on the bingo card, but like, yes, a pattern exists that is geometrically ideal for its use. Evolution has stumbled upon this. Therefore, God. I don't know. Maybe.
And then, now, this blew me away, y'all. Brussels sprouts, they grow in the
Brussels
Fibonacci
sprouts.
sequence. You see that? Those layers of rows there? Those, you count them out. It's 100% in the Fibonacci.
It's the exact same point every time. Yeah, plants conserve on space via natural selection because the ones that don't do as well in reproduction because they wasted more resources on getting less done reproductively. This is not that hard to understand.
Could you just briefly summarize the cultivation history of Brussels sprouts?
So Brussels sprouts, along with like kohlrabi and kale and cauliflower and broccoli, are all actually like a variety of mustard. And
so humans had a real, like, direct hand in Brussels sprouts, is what you're saying?
Oh yeah. Now, to be fair,
Weird.
wild mustard does have this sequence to it, but like this is not what wild mustard would have looked like. Not at all.
Mm.
Y'all, I couldn't believe this. I had always assumed for years that Brussels sprouts grew like this.
Oh my goodness.
Oh goodness.
Oh, you could not torture that out of me.
What, the Brussels sprouts?
Thinking that the way things are packaged in a store is the way they grow in nature, like, you could not.
Meat just comes from the store wrapped in plastic. What are you talking about? That's no one has to die for meat.
Peaches come from a can. They were put there by a man in a factory downtown.
Fresh peaches are way better.
They are. Peaches.
Although, sometimes they're not in season, and I'll take a canned peach.
That's one thing that I do. There's only a very small number of things that I miss about living in the Deep South, and just free access to peaches all over the place. That was nice.
Yeah, every once in a while, I have a sibling who lives out in South Carolina. Every once in a while I visit. They've always got the freshest peaches there, and I'm just like, yeah, you can't.
Heck yeah.
You bite into them, and like they're just very, very juicy, but they're not overripe yet, because you can get anything to be really juicy if it's just a little bit too overripe. But no, these are perfect ripeness, but still just gushing
so
with
good.
juice. Yeah, it's really good.
We can take it one step further. We can actually take a piece of graph paper and we can graph out the Fibonacci sequence, and it makes a spiral pattern that looks a little bit like this. It's a golden ratio that scales up by 1.
Fun fact. This, the rectangle that becomes like, it's not exact, but if you want a quick guide to how non-Northern Americans size their paper, you go from like A1 to A2 to A3, A4. It's just half the size of the size above it. So the whole rectangle would be like, for instance, A1. If you cut it in half, that's A2. If you cut that in half, it's A3, etc., etc.
Oh, also, Zeeble1994 for €5 says, "Hey ho, Dapper," smiley face. "This account is actually my second one supporting you. I am Furavara on Patreon, but I wanted those sweet emojis." Oh, well, thank you very much. And also, this is, of course, Zeebel1994's first ever super chat. So congratulations on that. I am very honored to be the recipient of your first super chat, and also that you are on my Patreon. In fact, your name will be in the credits. I will say it out loud because you are, I believe, a diapsid level patron of mine, if I remember correctly. So, thank you very much. In case anyone doesn't know, the levels of patronage get closer and closer to just being Ceratosaurus as you go up in money. starting with tetrapod at the $1 tier. All right.
Wait, how much is Ceratosaurus?
Oh, I actually don't have a Ceratosaurus tier because Dinosaur is already up at $100, and like I don't know, what should I do? Like a $500 Ceratosaurus tier?
I say just go for a nice 1,000.
$1,000.
Yeah, that's worth Ceratosaurus.
Okay. Oh, I mean, it would be. It would probably be worth like the specific name too. Maybe $500 can be Ceratosaurus, and 1,000 can be Ceratosaurus nasicornis.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's fancy. You don't get anything extra. you just get the knowledge that you're paying my rent.
618, I believe. Well, so people said, well, hey, if we can find the numbers in nature, maybe we can find the spirals in nature. What would be a spiral? The first thing that comes to mind would be the nautilus shell.
Well, okay, that's...
You got it, Eric Foxy.
Except that that's not a golden spiral. I mean, it doesn't even look like one.
Eric Foxy called it. He said if he's about to show a nautilus and say it's a golden spiral, I have news for him.
Oh, yep. All right, well...
You called it.
Maybe he'll say it's not a golden spiral. It's possible.
Which is not actually a Fibonacci spiral.
Oh,
yes.
Wow.
Amazing.
Congratulations, dude. There you go. Okay.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Yeah, me too. I would not have bet that was about to be the case. And then I was like, well, let's see what he's going to say. I was just, we'll give the little guy a chance, but we all know he's going to get it wrong. But no. All right, well, good job, Dave.
Good.
It's a
Gold star.
Logarithmic spiral, which is amazing in and of itself, but it is not a perfect Fibonacci spiral. So maybe that was taking it a bit too far. Maybe we shouldn't be looking for the spiral in nature until...
As Origami Swami points out, it even says a logarithmic spiral on the slide.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess it does. Fair enough. I did not read that slide. In part because my pop filter is partially covering up the word logarithmic.
Oh, yeah.
So,
We realized that the design of the outer...
That also is not a...
That's...
Like, look on the left where it, deviates from the golden spiral, and then, maybe the top is aligned, but, I can't tell because there's hair in the way, and then, the lobe doesn't match. No, dude, come on.
No. Also, where the horizontal line is, the big, long horizontal line, that doesn't... The ear doesn't go all the way to the edge of the spiral.
Yeah, ugh.
Dude.
Come on, man. This is... No, stop it. Stop it!
Oof.
You got it right with the nautilus shell. Get it right with the ear. Ugh, I hate it.
Ear many times follows a Fibonacci spiral, but only...
Many times.
Many times, but not this time, though. I couldn't find a picture of it. But trust me, you guys.
As a child, because as we get older, our earlobes distend and it gets out of a perfect Fibonacci spiral.
Tesla Ranger has a very good point. Shouldn't the spiral be centered on the eardrum?
I don't know, but I feel like this is one of those find anything that kind of fits the curve and we're gonna go with it. From some kind of objective standpoint, you'd think that maybe the curve should center in on the eardrum, which it absolutely does not. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this is just you're just gonna look around and find something that matches this. But also, I want you to notice that you could probably just photograph this particular ear from a different angle, and it would even less well fit, right?
Yeah.
It's a weird thing to talk about, because the ears aren't really a spiral, or really not. More of an oval. Yeah,
Isn't that amazing?
No.
And then.
Isn't it amazing that this ear doesn't match the golden spiral? No, actually. It's one of the least amazing things I've ever heard of.
We could take it a bit further. We couldn't do this until recent years. In the last 100 years, we've had
a picture of a spiral on things?
I mean, Leonardo da Vinci managed to do that a whole bunch.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Putting spirals
Also,
all over the
Fearmonger official says y'all should at least be glad Reeves isn't pronouncing it Fibonacci like Kent seems to think it is pronounced.
Okay.
Yeesh.
Yeah,
Ouch.
That's fair. That's fair. What was it? Grady McMurtry. You guys don't know who Grady McMurtry is. Well, first, that's going to change. Second, You should count your blessings while they last, that you don't know who Grady McMurtry is. But I recently heard him mispronounce racemic, which is when you have a mixture of things like amino acids that have relatively even amounts of left and right-handed amino acids, as race mix.
What?
Yeah, race mix. I'm trying to pretend that it's not a Freudian slip and that he's against race mixing, but like he's an old white guy from Texas, so you know.
You know what? I gotta roll my d20 for this.
To see if you take some
psychic damage.
Yeah, you're definitely taking
18. All right.
Ooh, nice.
Sweet.
Probably saved against that psychic damage.
Woo! All right.
Yeah.
So many technological breakthroughs. But now that we can send things up and look back down, we realize that
it also doesn't match.
Oh, goodness.
It also doesn't match. Come on, dude. Why are you doing this to me? What the hell?
Notwithstanding the obvious challenge of where do you draw the edge of, like, a cloud, yeah, that doesn't match.
It visibly doesn't match. Plus, hey, you see that spot for the eye of the storm? Weird how it doesn't spiral into that spot, isn't it? It's because if you put the at the center of the spiral there, it would more obviously not match.
Also, this is really causing me pain because as someone who grew up in a place that used to have hurricanes a lot, the only time that hurricanes look like that specific shape is after they've begun to make landfall.
Yeah,
once they're out in the middle of the ocean or like in the Gulf, they are almost perfect circles.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
Goodness. Liz D says, I can put this drawing of straight and curved lines over anything. Checkmate, evolutionists. Basically.
I mean, there are the little memes where people will put it over big chunky bears and such. Quite enjoy those.
Yes, but that's for comedic effect.
It's also because it's science fact.
Chunk bears are Fibonacci spirals.
Chunk bears are Fibonacci spirals, so are loaf cats.
All right.
Some hurricanes actually follow the perfect Fibonacci spiral.
Hurricanes. But only mostly after they've begun to make landfall.
Some spiral galaxies.
It also doesn't match.
Does he not know that a bunch of spiral galaxies look like just circles with spirally arms sticking out of them?
And plus, it still doesn't match.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. Guys, did you know that you can put a golden spiral over any other spiral and then have them not match up? And then you can just say that they do. That's just a thing you can do. But it's only possible because God designed creatures to be the way they are now, and evolution didn't happen. If evolution did happen, you couldn't put a spiral over other differently shaped spirals that don't match and then lie to say that they do. That's not a thing you could do if evolution were true.
Some of these follow, just the ones that don't.
Oh, God. This is so painful. I did not expect it to be this bad. Yeah, as Mr. Willis says, some spirals are spirals. Yep, that's true.
The fearmonger on this one.
Yeah, basically. This is... I was not expecting it to be this, I'll be honest.
Follow this Fibonacci pattern.
What about all the other spiral arms?
That one at least comes kind of close, but again, dude, you haven't centered it on the actual center of the spiral. Why is it that every time he's like, look at this spiral, it's a Fibonacci spiral, he doesn't actually center the Fibonacci spiral where that spiral centers, and plus, again, it doesn't actually match. Look at the center of the spiral arm. It crosses over on the left, the Fibonacci circle, but it's inside it everywhere else, which means it's not a Fibonacci spiral. And look at the very end of it. You can tell it's not following the line.
Much like with hurricanes, they start out kind of nebulous and amorphous, and they begin to tighten into circles. Mm-hmm. Goodness gracious.
Oh, man. How many...
One of the ways that we can see how old galaxies are is because the more, like, circular they are, the longer that their spiral has to condense. So...
Or spiral and spiral.
Yes, more spiral and spiral.
This is painfully dumb.
Maybe he needs a spirograph. I love spirographs.
Spirographs are cool. Yeah, no shade on spirographs.
Heck yeah.
The shape and growth of eggs.
Egg.
Hey guys, this ovoid actually is a spiral. No, it's an ovoid. That's what that is.
Literally, the bottom right quadrant of that diagram does not match the egg. But okay, we're just gonna ignore that part.
Guys, I can get this curve to follow part of some other curve, kind of a little bit, except again, over on the left, it doesn't actually follow the curve anymore. Again, even at the top right, it doesn't fully follow the curve. The egg extends past the spiral on the top, and then doesn't quite follow the spiral on the bottom right.
Is his first name Matt? Am I making that up?
No, it's David.
What? David Reeves, can I offer you an egg in this trying time?
It better be a Patty's Pub egg. Savage Cobra kind of official says this argument is spiraling the drain. Yeah, it really is. This is.
But is it doing it in a perfect Fibonacci sequence?
Too young to feel this old. Who's been a member for 8 months and is at the Sauropsy level. Thank you very much. Says pelagic tunicate is a Fibonacci spiral. Strawman. Yeah.
Strawman.
Yeah. Basically.
Oh, this is bad.
It really.
I'm gonna bingo square this for outright lying because just y'all.
Yeah, no.
I'm literally looking at it not line up. What in the world?
It's like it's always amusing to me when creationists put up the thing that debunks them on screen for me, so I don't have to
pretend I do not see it.
Astral Nekomimi for $4.99 says, better keep that egg away from AIG so they don't fertilize it.
Ew.
Oh, goodness.
Tesla Ranger says when Fonzie jumped the shark, his trajectory followed a golden spiral.
You know what? I am not going to dispute that in the least. That is just now true.
Yes.
Follow this Fibonacci pattern. Let me tell you about this. Now, numbers are
literally
abstract.
don't.
I know.
Oh
man. Numbers are abstract, okay.
Numbers really don't exist except in our mind, but
I see that David Reeves has just assumed that number non-realism is just the default position in mathematics. I would contend that it is not. It is a common position, but it is not the only position. Nor is it the default position. But okay, sure. Number non-realism. We'll just go with it, I guess.
Can use numbers to study things.
What's that? Sorry.
Shade Dragon said answers in egg.
Egg. Oh, Too Young to Feel This Old has just gifted 5 Dapper Dinosaur memberships. Thank you very much. They went to
Ian. Tunicates.
No, tetrapods. Come on, guys. Tetrapods. That's the proper use of the tetrapod emoji. Ian Houston, Mark Rose, Lady Moonweb, Al Trucker, Cross Platform Adventures have all received gifted memberships from Too Young to Feel This Old. Thank you very much for your generosity, Too Young to Feel This Old. And hey, also, no, I said Cross Platform Adventures. Sorry about that. Also, if you want to get access to the Discord after being gifted a membership, just make sure to tie your Discord account to your YouTube account in the connections section of your settings on Discord. It will automatically add you. Now, of course, the rub is it'll also automatically kick you a month after your membership expires. So, you know, if you want to stay in the server, consider renewing the membership. Or just hope to get another gifted membership. I mean, that's also a possibility.
So, why would an Italian mathematician think up this sequence of numbers, and then we find those numbers, which don't exist, throughout nature?
Why he thought up...
don't exist to make a bunk point.
Right. Now, I honestly don't know why Fibonacci came up with the sequence. Like, I don't know why he started doing that. I don't know if there was some plan.
Because it's neat.
Yeah, it's neat. I don't particularly care why he did it. But the fact that it happened to match aspects of a, you know, optimal space-filling spiral isn't... Like, okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to take away from that. But also, less than half the people watching have hit like. And you know what that means, Vishanti. It means I like less than half of them half as well as they deserve. So, better hit like.
See, he's gonna say, look at this perfect design, therefore God.
Yeah. Which,
after, you know, having shown non-perfect Fibonacci sequence, but don't worry about it.
Yeah. And of course, the other thing is, you have to show why it is that natural selection would not arrive at an optimal space-filling circle, or sorry, spiral, which, you know, it probably would, because conserving resources is a pretty big deal for organisms. But hey, what do I know? Dodo brain. even know there was a dodo emoji. I don't know what the emojis are.
Yeah.
Mark Smith, who's been a member for 3 months and is at the tetrapod level, says, I need oven mitts for this and Sir Six whiskey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone who could contact Sir Sick and get him to send over some whiskey. Not that he would willingly part with his own whiskey, but, you know. In Theros Rex says for $5, what in the Kentucky Fried Feck is this? Coincidences exist, therefore God. Hate these arguments. Yeah, I mean,
too.
basically, that is a pretty good summary of this so far.
Oh yes, Fearmonger Official is correct. You know what? I think we also triggered Trojan Source for bingo because he's showing things that debunk himself.
Fair, yeah. That I mean,
I will mark that off.
It's a little bit of a broad interpretation of Trojan Source, but yeah, no, I like it.
I'm gonna count it.
Yeah. I mean,
Also,
look, it's your
if you
bingo
didn't
sheet.
know, well, there's a dodo emoji, and there's also what I insist upon calling a dugong, even though it's labeled as seal. I'm going to say it's a dugong.
Is it actually a dugong?
I will insist that it's a dugong. I want it to be a dugong and not a seal.
You should send it so I can see what it looks like.
Okay. I will do that.
There's only one way. That is.
Yeah, I could see how that might be a dugong.
Don't worry about it.
I could see.
Don't ask questions. Just accept it.
From an atheistic standpoint, this shouldn't happen.
Oh,
Oh my god.
no! None of that is correct.
First of all, nothing about this is quote-unquote atheistic, right? Evolution isn't more atheist than the theory of gravity is, or the germ theory of disease. You don't see a whole lot of people going around saying, like, well, I can't believe in God because I got strep throat, and if God didn't create this disease, and instead it's actually a bacterial infection, well, then I guess there's just no God. Because, I mean, where do you find God in the germ theory of disease? Nowhere. Must not be a God. Evolution is in the same boat. It's not using God as an explanatory mechanism, and there you go. It also is explaining an aspect of the natural world.
Yeah, again, we also hit the non-young recreationist equals atheist bingo square.
Yeah.
Thank you, Fearmonger.
Yes. Yeah, that's definitely that bingo square. Yep. Because, hey, in case everyone doesn't know, the vast majority of religious people in the world are not anti-evolutionists. They're not actually particularly anti-science overall, which is a good thing, I would add. I want most people to be anti-science, and I don't usually care about their other beliefs, at least as far as
Also,
the
yes,
concerned.
thank you. It is Dugong the Pokemon. Thank you. I spelled
okay.
it as Dugong the manatee-looking thing, but it's a Dugong. It's a Pokemon.
Okay, actually, it looks even more like Dugong the Pokemon than it does look like the Dugong the Serenian. So in that case, yeah,
Yeah,
no,
they're
I can.
almost manatee. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. Interestingly, the closest
You can
relatives.
just pretend that I'm not on a lot of like pseudoephedrine right now. That'd be great.
Also, the closest relatives of manatees and dugongs are elephants.
Yeah.
So there you go. Also, they have cute little claws at the ends of their flippers. They don't really do anything with them, but they exist because those are the ends of their fingers, and so it's adorable. Little fingertips.
Manatees are so cool.
Yeah.
Just unbothered.
Well, till you run over them with your speedboat.
Well, ugh,
Thanks, Floridians.
they're like the capybara of the sea. They're just there,
They are.
chilling. You know.
Well, they're the capybaras of the swamps. Dugongs are
Swamp,
the capybaras of the sea.
There you go.
It simply should not be. But if we have a creator, a grand designer who formed the universe, just like Galileo said, using mathematical principles, and then he turned around and he formed us.
Wait a minute. He's saying because Galileo said it? Honey, pick a lane. It's either the Bible said it or Galileo said it. You can't be authoritarian about two of them.
Look, Galileo's just the new prophet.
Oh, of course.
And he was oppressed by the
I have
evil
missed
Catholic Church for his prophetic revelations about God's universe that should be added to the Bible, even though it says a few different times not to add anything, and even though that's already been violated a few times by different people. Doesn't matter. They should be added to the Bible alongside as like the extra New Testament.
Does that make him the final prophet?
No, that was Ellen G. White.
Oh, how silly of me.
Right, of course. To doing really weird deep cuts into like fringe Christianity.
I know.
And I do not
People
know.
in the chat are probably like, what?
What's an Ellen G. White? In case you guys don't know, Ellen G. White is the prophetess that is followed by the Seventh-day Adventist movement. Yeah, there you go.
Us in his image with just this tiny fraction of his ability to comprehend numbers in mathematics, then guess what? We should expect to find these numbers and sequences in nature, and that is what we do.
Yeah, I don't see. The thing is, if you tell me, okay, here's my proposition: God created the universe. I do not from that get, therefore, we should find spiral galaxies that aren't golden spirals, but that people lie about and say they are. Like, I don't see the connection there. I mean, I guess I can't say that having spiral galaxies disproves God. I don't think it does. But, like, yeah, how does this follow? How do we get from God exists to therefore spiral arms of galaxies should exist? And flowers will attempt to fill the maximum amount of space with the, well, you know, having the minimum amount of, like, wasted space with their buds.
Fabium is also hitting you with a good one. He says you're wrong. The final prophetess is the cat Kerr, crazy lady.
Oh yeah, okay. No, she's a false prophet.
Oh, of
yes,
course.
Obviously.
She's the one that shakes sticks at hurricanes.
Yes, she does. And then it just goes where she told it not to go anyway.
Mm.
And how many times did she predict that Trump was going to win the 2020 election, or that he had already won the 2020 election, or that in the next few months he was going to take back over as president after some kind of uprising from the military or something?
They are still huffing copium over that. Too Young to Fill the Soul says, Vishanti, are you riding a shiny mudkip? No, it's an Ashloki.
Yes, Ashloki. What was the thing? Oh, there was a... Oh, right, isn't there a thing in, like, Exodus or something, somewhere in the Bible, where it's like, oh, hey, if a prophet makes a prophecy that doesn't come to pass, you should stone them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If
they make a prophecy that doesn't come to pass, or if they make one that comes to pass but they're telling you to go worship a bunch of other gods other than the God of Israel, you're like, nope, that's it.
So I think at the very least, on the first grounds, Kat Kerr is probably in some trouble if she's going to be taking the Bible seriously.
She's like, no, it just hasn't come true yet.
Yeah.
Hashtag coping.
Yeah, when you give dates to your prophecy and then it doesn't happen, it's hard to make that excuse.
Harold camping.
Oh, goodness. To be fair,
Chad is insisting that this is a mudkip.
To be fair to Harold Camping, after like his second in a row failure and his final failure, because then he died, he was like, you know what? I was wrong. I'm retiring from public preaching. Please don't listen to me. And you know what? It was a dumb thing to do in the first place, but at least you owned it, man. You were like, yeah, no, that was dumb. That was on me. I don't know what to do other than quit. Which, okay, yeah, good. Yeah, no, that's the proper thing to do. So, I mean, I can't stay too mad at Harold Camping, because, like, he did the thing I would want him to do.
Yeah, but that's only after a bunch of people had literally sold all of their possessions.
Yeah. I mean, he ruined
their assets. Like, that is just ruining people's life and then being like, my bad.
He ruined a lot of people's lives.
Ooh.
And yeah, but on the other hand, what would I ask of him after he'd done that? Because he obviously can't repay all of them. He doesn't have the funds. I would ask that at the very least, he retire from public life and stop preaching, which he did.
Yeah, tragic.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, if anyone ever tells you that world's ending on the basis of Bible math, here's a pro tip.
Yeah, I don't believe them.
Yeah, lots of people have done that, and they've never been right about it. Chances are this guy isn't right
all
either.
of them have been wrong.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
So here's what you do, right? Plan on the world continuing on. You know, don't sell all your worldly possessions or anything. Just in case. Act as if the world might continue on. And then if it doesn't, well then who cares? The world ended anyway. But if it does, well then, okay, you'll still have your stuff.
I mean, and especially because there's a lot of stuff going around lately about, like, the rapture or whatever. It just comes around in cycles. And, like, I know Barterman's teaching a course on this soon, but one of the preachers that I used to know would be like, pray for the best, but plan for the worst.
I mean, look, I'm not going to tell you...
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you, like,
that seems fair, but also,
prepared.
like, yeah, you don't have to prepare for, like, an apocalypse that's not going to happen.
True. Although, you know what? If you want to keep some, like, non-perishable foodstuffs around just in case of some kind of natural disaster.
Yeah, I mean, that's just smart.
Yeah,
because sometimes, natural disasters happen and you lose power. I mean, that's a thing.
Like, I'm in favor of, like, reasonable amounts of prepping. I don't think you need to make, like, a sealed fallout shelter with 20 years worth of food. But,
yeah, and you don't have to, like, relocate to nowhere, Montana and stockpile weapons either.
Right. But maybe, if you had, like, a few weeks worth of food on hand, just in case, might be a good idea. Nathaniel Gray says, pretty sure Kerr is already stoned. Well, okay. Maybe that's what the Bible was actually talking about. Take the false prophet outside the city and just heap a bunch of drugs on him. See what happens.
Get him stoned.
All right.
The point is, we can't begin to express the infinite number of wonders. These wonders without number.
Okay, so here's the
Romanesque is a wonder.
Okay, so...
aesthetically pleasing designs? Come on, man.
As if humans didn't evolve to find certain things aesthetically pleasing. Like, yeah.
Oh.
The fact that humans like things is not on its own proof of God.
That God has placed.
I compare you to the petals of a rose that aren't a Fibonacci spiral.
All over the universe. But we're running out of time.
Oh, no!
Let me tell you a few things really quickly. Our ministry, David Reeves Ministries.
No, we're not doing ads.
Based out of each
Wait. Just pause it. You don't have to let him play. I love that he has two separate books. One is Wonders Without Number, and then he numbers 21 verses backed by science. I find that kind of funny.
It is an amusing juxtaposition, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, his forward is by Danny Faulkner, the young Earth creationist astronomer. Oh, goodness. Oh, so here's a fun thing from astronomy. So the James Webb Space Telescope recently found a supermassive black hole that had actually been ejected from its parent galaxy after gravitational interactions, and it carried with it, trailing behind it, a trail of stars. It's currently 200,000 light years long.
That's big.
Yeah, it's a pretty big trail of stars, but here's the thing. So, did God create a black hole that looked like it had been trailing stars for more than 200,000 years after being ejected from a galaxy?
It would say yes, because God just stretched out the heavens, and it looks old, but it's not JK, LOL.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. When you can see processes that clearly have a beginning point, and that beginning point is clearly more than 200,000 years ago, even with the instantaneous light time travel thing that Jason Lyle likes to go on about, it's like, man, that God must be a pretty big liar, because that, for all the world, looks like a 200,000 year ago supermassive black hole got ejected.
Yeah, and honestly, like, look, you can believe in any god or gods you want to. That's fine, do your thing. But, sure, I'd want to believe in a god that's deceptive like that.
Yeah, it makes your epistemology pretty troublesome when, like, your god is Loki.
It's a little dodgy.
Also, Lady Rorschach has just joined the channel at the tetrapod level, and of course now people are sending the wrong kind of coordinate. Send
Victory!
The tetrapod. Send the tetrapod. No.
The tunicate battles. The tide has turned.
Guys everybody is ruining the channel with all these tetrapod.
Yes, my children.
Emojis. Goodness.
I love what Tuflexen says. Imagine being dumped by your galaxy and getting revenge by stealing hundreds of stars. Very nice.
That's pretty great, yeah.
Oh.
All right, here we go.
But just take a book with you. If you're interested in a book that covers most of what I'm sharing today in a lot more detail, it's called Wonders Without Number, and you can find that on our websites and where books are sold. In Kansas, Creation Superstore, I started taking photos of space. My first decent astrophotography attempt was of the Great Orion Nebula. Check this out. This is the picture.
How much did he spend on that telescope rig?
And when I took...
Probably a fair bit.
Holy moly.
Yeah, look, David Reeves is a weird sort of guy because, like, no one can really account for where his money is coming from. I suspected he has rich parents or something, because, like, his ministry does not get even close to the numbers of, like, donors or followers that, like, AIG does, but they seem to have a similar amount of cash on hand.
Goodness.
So, like...
is he married to, like, an investment banker, like a realtor or something? Because
maybe.
Yes.
I personally, I just think his parents are probably loaded.
Okay.
I think they're loaded, and they're probably conservative Christians, and so they like that their son has gone into ministry, and they just shovel a bunch of money at him. Now, I can't prove that.
Like, because these photos actually look decent. I think he could have sharpened that slightly, but that looks pretty good.
No, he's a decent astrophotographer. I'm not going to knock him on that, and he's got a pair. I mean, I'm not a telescope expert, but it looks like he's got a pretty nice telescope set up there. So
yeah, I mean,
big at least.
That's an investment, son.
Yeah, no, it really is. Telescopes are not cheap, and they get
especially those rigs when you do photography, because you need like tracking software and stuff like that. It's a lot.
Pelagic Tunicate for €2 says, "You might not like Pelagic Tunicate, but we love you." Go attach yourself to a rock like a good God-fearing Tunicate.
That photo, my jaw hit the floor. Because I'd always seen it in Sky and Telescope magazine. I'd always seen it on NASA TV, and I'd always said, they doctored that. It can't really look.
Wait, was he a flat earther? Because that's a flat earther line. Just CGI.
Yeah.
Too Young to Feel This Old for $50. Thank you very much. That's extremely generous. It says, speaking of astronomy, my 4-year-old has been choosing space books, his words, for bedtime stories. We've read Cosmos, Astrophysics for People in a Hurry, and First Light. Anyone have good recommendations for what to read next? Let me know.
Awesome.
Unfortunately, I don't.
Your kid rules.
Yeah, that's a really cool kid, though. I personally don't know which good books, but if you're in the audience, you have recommendations for a astronomy book that's approachable for a kid, please put it in there, and make sure you tag Too Young to Feel This Old, because I love the idea of encouraging kids to be interested in science. Look, science is a big part of...
awesome.
If humans want to continue to, live on this planet in high numbers like they do now, or perhaps even be able to survive the end of this planet, or at least the end of its habitable period, we're going to need kids who are into science, because science is going to help with all of that, and not much else is. So, yeah, if you have any recommendations, everybody, check. Just put them in the chat, and make sure you tag Too Young to Feel This Old.
Or put them in the comments.
Yeah, put them in the comments, too. Actually, do both, because that way other people can come back and easily find a list of them. Because
your girl needs some astronomy recommendations, just saying.
There you go. You're going to add them to your wish list?
I might, actually.
It
can go in my queue with my AP biology textbook that's like 1,500 pages long.
How you doing with that, by the way?
Slow.
Okay. Well, hey, it is about 2 minutes until the top of the hour, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to get myself some fresh coffee, because it was an early morning for me, and I'm going to go have a 4th cup of coffee. This will be my, full pot worth of coffee drinking today. Normally I only drink 2 cups, but today's a 4-cup kind of a day. And then we're going to plow through with more of this, and we do actually have the second part, because this is actually a 2-part video series. And if we finish up with David Reeves, we will go back, and I believe Randy Galuza is first up on the next video.
Oh, so, man, not him again.
Right back to Randy.
All right.
So, all right. Here comes the intermission, and enjoy the musical stylings of one Bent Hovend, along with maybe an ad, because, rent comes up every once in a while.
Eating.
Yeah, I like to eat. I like to rent. I like to not have the IRS come and try to take extra money from me, things like that, All right, we are back. And I just noticed that like his astrophotography actually works well with the Bitmoji of you on the Ashlok.
It does.
Yeah, it's like it's color coordinated. I like it.
Yeah.
So good job, David Reeves, on the photograph. But now we're back real quick. I want to say thank you to B2022 for the £5 super chat. I almost said euro. It's £5. I once met a man in Nantucket. He was carrying a rather large bucket. His name was Lee. He kept tunicates from the sea in his bucket labeled AIG.
That's not perfect limerick, but I respect it.
You know what? I like it, even if it's not. And also, that was the first super chat that B2022 has ever sent. So
excellent.
Thank you. I don't know what it is, but the last few streams, I've been getting a lot of people who are doing their very first super chat, and
yeah, that's really awesome.
I'm really honored because I mean, that's like you've never done this before, and now you're choosing to be like, you know what? This is the guy who's going to get money from me via YouTube for the first time ever via super chat. And I just appreciate that.
Excellently crafted poetry.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Quite nice.
So real quick before we get back into it, I want to give a quick little ad, which is to say that, hey guys, this channel is something that I work on more than full time, right? Like 60 hours is not an unusual amount of time for me to spend working on this channel per week. And that's with scripting, editing, animating, researching new things to respond to, which actually takes a surprising amount of time. I usually go through like 5 or 6 videos to find one that both has enough to talk about and also is like not boring to the point that I don't want to make you watch it just to watch my stuff. So this channel really does run on support from fans. The amount of money that comes in from direct advertising, like from companies to the channel, is a tiny fraction of it, and it certainly would not be enough to keep this channel running. So if you would like to help keep this channel running, there are some great ways to help out. You can join the channel, which you've seen some people do here. You can also go to the Patreon. Either one will get you access to like 5 months worth of new videos that have not come out on the channel.
Yeah.
You get access to the Discord server. There are other perks if you give more money. You can get into the credits up at the $5 level and above. And now I have like 200 people in the credits because of all the gift memberships and whatnot. Because hey,
it's so awesome.
Yeah, if you have a gift membership and you're on my list of members and it's time for me to make credits, you're going in the credits. So congrats.
Yeah. Okay, this is a very important procedural question.
Okay.
I put it to the chat. Since we're about to switch speakers, does that mean we have to reset our bingo cards?
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say no, because I want people to be able to get a bingo. You know?
Okay. Well, you don't trust Randy Galuzza to hit a bingo.
Well, okay, fair. But yeah. So if you do want to help out with the channel, check out the Patreon, check out the channel memberships. If those aren't right for you, there's also a merch store. There's also a wish list. Both me and Vishanti have wish lists listed.
Yep.
And if like you can't afford, you just don't want to do any of those things, please make sure you hit like, share this video with people who you think will enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel, use the bell icon, turn on notifications, all that stuff, all the YouTube stuff. It really does help.
Yeah. Anytime you cross-post a link to this video on social media, it can bring in new views.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, put this on your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, your Mastodon. Mastodon is, yeah, Mastodon, not Mammoth, I don't know. You know what, your elephant thing. It's like the bird app, put it on the elephant app too.
Yes.
That good. They kind of, made it look. And here, I had just taken the photo for myself.
Yeah.
And I said, really, the heavens do declare the glory of God.
Listen,
How
man,
could I share this?
Look, David Reeves did. It's cool that he got into astrophotography. That is very awesome. His photography looks very pretty. But I'm very concerned with how anti-science and contrarian a lot of these people are, where they're like, they just doctored this photo. It's fake until I personally see it.
Yeah, it's basically just a flat earther argument. And I'm like, why would NASA do what would NASA gain from making a doctored version of the Great Orion Nebula?
Well, they're just trying to make it look like evolution, Big Bang, millions of years old, atheist science.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know how that would help them, but okay. Especially since a lot of people at NASA aren't, atheists. There's,
yeah, right.
there's a lot of theists over at NASA. as there are in most places.
Yes. Why is this a hobby? How could I share this with others? And that is how our ministry first got started. So I've kept taking photos. For instance, this one is of the Rosette Nebula. It looks a little bit like a rose in space, doesn't it?
Woohoo!
That's probably how it got the name. All right. Look, these are really cool, but I don't know what I'm supposed to take away from the fact that he's doing astrophotography. Oh, look, he got the moon during
that's cool.
solar eclipse. That is really cool. But like,
that looks very neat.
We're just gonna skip through some of his thing. Oh, there's the Ring Nebula. That's really good. I mean, look, this guy.
Again, I really feel like some of this he needs to like fix his focus just a little, because some of these are a little more blurry than they have to be. But yeah. This looks really neat.
Oh yeah, overall, I'm impressed with his astrophotography. It's not perfect, but yeah, it's pretty good, and he's clearly put some time and effort into it. So I mean, good job on that. I'm not gonna knock that.
Like, yeah, the stacking is. I'm actually kind of impressed.
All right, but he's about to get into Einstein. I want to see what he says about Einstein.
Oh, goodness.
And yeah, like April Van Ryn says, yeah, these are amazing pictures. Look, I mean, credit where it's due, right? He took the time and effort and the money to get these pictures, and it's not easy to do. None of those things are easy, so.
It's hard because A, the Earth is spinning. B, the atmosphere.
Yep.
And, like, C, you have to either take long exposures and compensate for it. You have to take, like, a gajillion, like, real quick snapshots and then stack them later. It's very time consuming.
Yeah, it's not an easy process. There's no quick way to do this kind of thing. All right, but let's hear what he has to say about Einstein.
Anyway, we spent all night long calibrating their telescopes, and we got...
Oh, but first, B, 2022 for £5 says, AIG is a disgusting dormitory of disappointing, disastrously dysfunctional, dinky dispensers of diseased detritus. Wow. Detritus. My goodness.
Amazing.
That's pretty darn good. I'm going to take a sip of this coffee just for that.
Delectable.
Yeah, playing with coffee was definitely the right move. If I played with booze, I'd already be asleep.
This picture of...
Well, yeah, or dead.
The Ring Nebula. It's beautiful what's out there. So, in conclusion, we've looked at wonders in animal biology. Okay, and we've seen that the hummingbird is incredibly well designed.
See you last time for that.
We've looked at wonders of
mathematics. Slide is so bad. Oh no.
Yeah.
Mathematics, and we have seen that numbers are declaring God's glory just as everything else in this universe is.
Math exists, therefore God is always an interesting take. Who is it?
No.
Jason Lyle also has something about this with fractal patterns. He's like, how could fractal patterns exist without God? It's like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, humans didn't invent the Mandelbrot set. They just found it. God invented it. I'm like, no, it's an inevitable outcome of how humans chose to define certain mathematical objects. The fact that it wasn't intended by the humans who invented it, and it wasn't even known by the humans who invented it, doesn't mean they didn't invent it, because they did. That's
honestly, I'm sorry, this slide is so bad. He literally does not understand how any of this works. Just hit play. Just play.
Okay. Oh, wait, I thought I hit play. There it is.
And then we've started to look at astronomy. But before we go any further, I want to wrap up by talking about Einstein's theory of relativity.
Which is not what we're looking at here. This is mass energy equivalence, which is not the same thing.
And is he referring to special relativity or general relativity?
He does not know.
Does he even know that there's two?
I doubt it. Look, general relativity, like special relativity is just what general relativity, but like special. It's special relativity is just general relativity that rode the short bus.
It's limited edition.
Yeah, there you go.
We all know the equation E equals mc squared. Oh, I see the glassy eyes coming on right now. We're not going to be talking about that. No.
Literally everyone knows about this.
Yeah. It's like the one science equation people know of.
Einstein's theory of relativity is best left for another day, but what I want to introduce you to, and If you have notebooks, you may want to write this down. I want to introduce you to the Reeves theory of relativity. You see,
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, also, can you go back to the slide because he obviously didn't read it.
Here we go.
Okay. E is energy, yes. M is mass, yes. C is the speed of light in a vacuum. Okay, you're doing good. So the equation equals mc squared indicates that energy always exhibits relativistic mass in whatever form the energy takes. Here's the kicker. Mass energy equivalence does not imply that mass may be converted into energy. My man!
Oh, yeah. Hey, how does how do stars work?
I guess bombs can't exist.
His entire life depends on a process which converts mass into energy, like, second to second. Tons of it. Tons of mass. Literal tons just being converted directly into energy. In the sun, right now.
I am very confident that my brain is leaking out of my ears.
Yeah, it's a good thing he skipped over this.
It's so bad. You guys, what do you think? He's like, oh yeah, you see where this A equals mc squared? Yeah, it doesn't mean that you can convert mass into energy. Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's not how equal signs work, but April Van Ryn, who's been a member for a whole month, and is at the amnio level, says AIG is a posthumous pile of pontificating polywog. Thank you very much.
Ooh, polywogs, I haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah. I'm not a polywog, though. I'm a shellback. Take that.
Oh.
Which, of course, means that I
this doesn't make it in my brain.
Crossed over the equator on a Navy ship and gone through the shellback ceremony. If you have not gone through the ceremony, or you've not crossed the equator, you are, in fact, a polywog.
There you go.
So, actually, my ship went just below the equator specifically to have a shellback ceremony. We didn't actually have to. There was nothing on our way that we had to cross the equator for. It would actually put us slightly out of our way. But the ship was just like, no, we're doing it. Oh, okay. We actually did it twice on both of my deployments. So I did the ceremony twice. Once as a polywog, once as a shellback. It's more fun as a shellback, I'll be honest. Mostly because,
yeah.
You don't have to replace your boots after.
Yeah. But also, yeah, this slide, it's so bad. Like, dude, no. Literally the opposite of that.
Yeah, no, it's extremely dumb. Oh, and we don't want to listen to this guy. We're going to skip ahead a little bit if he gets to it. Also, B2022 for £5 says, AIG is a frustratingly frivolous fresco of flaccid, flailing, fallacious phalluses flopping about failing to fully fathom fair use. Surprisingly accurate and extremely well alliterated. Thank you very much, B2022. You're like, I think we might have to find our, like, poet emeritus or something for the channel.
Yeah, we definitely have the champ here.
Yeah, B2022 is currently, like, top contender for poet laureate of the Dapper Dino channel. Okay, here we go.
Nice theory of relativity.
You can be an atheist in the Navy because they don't do foxholes.
It's true. I was never in a foxhole. That's a good point. They did have a chapel, though, so you also can be a non-atheist. You're allowed. And actually, traveling on a carrier with a carrier strike group means that, like, we had a pretty wide array of chapel services. We always had, like, on staff, like, a Protestant and a Catholic chaplain, and then, like, periodically would rotate in, like, a Jewish chaplain, and I think at one point we might have even had, like, a Buddhist chaplain or something come on board.
Neat.
Yeah. And we also had like designated lay leaders for a lot of other things. Like we had a Mormon lay leader. We had lay leaders for a few other different religions.
Relativity is best left for another day, but what I want to introduce you to...
Yeah, like when you actually understand it.
Yeah.
If you have notebooks, you may want to write this down.
Relevant
I want to introduce you to the Reeves
and not
theory of
mc squared.
Relativity. You see, if Einstein can have his theory, I figure, well, I guess I could have my own theory of relativity.
No, that's not how that works, dude.
No.
Okay, look, you can have your own theory of relativity if you can actually propose one that meets the rigorous standards of testing in science.
Listen, if he submits it for peer review...
And it passes.
I'll be waiting.
Yeah, I mean, look, I am very, very much anticipating David Reeves' entry into the world of peer-reviewed physics publications. I'm sure that he will have an outstanding paper to present.
Toilet paper.
Look, it'll be outstanding in its field, just like JM Truth.
His paper will be toilet paper.
Yeah, well.
So I'm going to explain to you very quickly the Reeves theory of relativity, even though it's a bit complicated, all right? So you can try to write fast, but basically, if your relatives can't understand what you're talking about, use simpler terms.
You know how many times I've tried to explain to older family members how running a YouTube channel works? And how simplified I've tried to make it, and they still don't get it? Like, they're still baffled about how any of this works. I'm not entirely sure this is a good metric.
All right, if
my brother understands most of these concepts, and even though he's getting his PhD in, like, I think education, his undergrad and graduate courses consisted of a lot of, like, biology and chemistry and astronomy, so I wouldn't need to use simple terms to explain any of this. In fact, it's very plausible he would have to dumb stuff down for me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and here's the other thing, like, people can learn complicated terms, right? You can teach people. If they actually care about what you're talking about, and they're not willing to learn even a few of the more complicated terms so they know what you're talking about, they're just not interested in hearing about it. So maybe you should stop talking to them about it. You know?
Yeah.
Like, if your mom doesn't care about, like, evolutionary biology, why talk to her about it? You know?
Yeah.
All right.
Really want to fulfill the Great Commission, if we really want to get out there and share the good
Oh, it's about proselytizing.
Oh, he's preaching. Okay.
news of the gospel, we've got to learn to be able to explain ourselves better, because it really is pretty simple. Just like
your problem's not simpler language.
All right, we're gonna
got other problems.
skip past and see what else we come to. I do not care about his recommendations for how to better preach the gospel. B2022 for £5 says, Landon's tiny URL on Chesh's channel was very helpful with those. That sounds like a euphemism. So AIG is a cloud-hosted repository of tiny URLs.
Yeah.
Move on. And yes, these things are important when you're studying, but not when you're sharing. So how do we break it down simply? Let's use simpler terms. Our closest star is about 4.3 light years away. This is a picture I took around a bonfire in Africa on one of my trips, and you can actually see Alpha Centauri, where Proxima Centauri is. Do I point to it right here? Yeah. There we go. That's it right there. Proxima Centauri is right there. You can't see it in that photo, but it's right beside the big bright star. All right, that's our closest star, extrasolar, because the sun is technically the closest star.
Hey, he got something else
technically right. It is a star.
Yeah, I mean, it is just us. Oh, goodness. I just hit the stop button like an idiot. Okay, give me a second. Get this back.
48 billion years to get there.
No, we won't.
One more, the Whirlpool Galaxy. I've actually taken a picture of a supernova, an exploding star in that galaxy.
Oh no!
It would take 500.
Holy moly!
Darn it! All right, look, we're gonna go on to the second one because I'm tired of this one, and I'm tired of him just telling us how to preach by saying "space cool." So here's what we're gonna do. I am going to let's see. Find out where this one is stored on my computer so I don't accidentally do the wrong thing. All right, we're going to open that up, and that should automatically open up for everybody here.
So one of our...
And then I will share it to Vishanti, and I'll also make it bigger.
Hey.
Here we go. Done with David Reeves. I don't care about David Reeves. Here we are back with Randy. Good old Randy Galooza.
I thought I was free of this guy.
Nope, you'll never be free from him again because you've decided to become a regular guest on my channel.
No.
You did this to yourself. You went in with no illusions. You didn't have any illusions about this. You knew what you were getting into.
Do not want.
Goodness.
Priorities at the ICR is to make sure that when we talk about the Creator, we're specifically mentioning the Lord Jesus Christ. Because one of the main things that we need to remember when we're going to talk about what evolutionary theory is after and what they're trying to do It's not just
Is
to
explain how biological organisms diversified.
Yeah, I can't say that it's 100%, but I can guarantee you that the vast majority of evolutionary biologists have never even once thought about whether or not they can use their science to disprove Jesus. It's not something that comes up, right? Not any more than, like, the guy who makes your sandwiches at the Subway is trying to disprove Jesus with his sandwiches. It's just not a thing. It's just not. They don't care. I mean, granted, some of them might, right? Like, there's, like, you'll find the Richard Dawkins out there, who maybe he is, but the vast majority just don't care. They're not trying that. Oh, and hey, Sal, happy Easter for tomorrow. I hope you have a wonderful Easter. Sal's here. Sal's he's a friend of the channel. He's the only young Earth creationist who's ever been on a Tuesday show to debunk Kent Hovind with me and Bent. So, and we did appreciate having him on here. Yeah, there's also the question, like, most of this creationist stuff, like, it can, if it were true, like, if the arguments were good, right, might be able to get you to, like, theism broadly, but most of these arguments don't get you to Jesus. Now,
you would need to make arguments that support only one God to the exclusion of all the others.
Well, okay, so here's the most charitable I can be, right? If you think these are good ways to get people to theism, and then once they're at theism, you think you have additional arguments that can get them to your particular brand of theism, then I can understand why you might start here. But if you're going to pretend that this is going to get you to Jesus, best case scenario, that's a no. Best case scenario, that gets you to a broad theism that doesn't have any particular beliefs about God beyond, like, bare existence. So, alright, here's the play button.
Say that creatures evolved or to explain the diversity of life on Earth. What Darwin is really after, and this is really important because you have to understand what his theory is if you're going to explain it to others, it is to point towards a totally atheistic, non-creator explanation.
Randy.
No, it's really not.
No, Randy.
Look,
Also, again, for like the millionth time, Darwin's not the Pope of science, and science did not end with Darwin.
Correct.
It does not matter what Darwin said. It does not matter.
Okay.
Explanation for the origin and diversity of life as well. That's point number one. And point number two is this. He is here to mar the image of the Creator.
No, he's not.
No one. Oh my goodness.
Darwin, lifelong theist.
Well, he became an agnostic by the end.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But Charles Lyell was a lifelong theist.
Indeed, he was.
Despite
that's
the
what I was
fact
thinking of. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Despite the fact that Christians are always like, he was just trying to make sure that no one believed the Bible. It's like the lifelong Christian. Yeah. Now, granted, he was trying to get people to get away from a literal reading of Genesis as, the actual history of the Earth. He was doing that. But, actual Christian his entire life. So, no, he was not trying to get people to stop reading the Bible or not believe in God. That was definitely not his goal.
He is here to slap God in the face and spit in his face. And that's why if you have any zeal or ardor and love and affection for the Lord Jesus whatsoever in your being, you will find his theory highly offensive.
What I find offensive is you trying to make all Christians young Earth creationists.
Yeah, I also find that offensive. And also, like, whether we're talking Charles Darwin or Charles Lyell, getting rid of a belief in God was not their goal in any verifiable sense, right? Yeah, actually, Sal points out it
doesn't matter, and again, it literally doesn't matter what an atheist says. Science speaks for itself. Like, the evidence and the research stands on its own. Richard Dawkins, who, by the way, is a raging transphobe, he's not the Pope of science either.
Yeah, but evidence and reason Sal is correct in saying that this is a better description of Dawkins than it is of Darwin. Yeah. I'm also not a big fan of Richard Dawkins. I mean, granted,
neither am I.
He has put out some good material in terms of science. He's put out some less good material in terms of science, and he's put out some trash material in terms of things like ethics and philosophy. So, you know, overall, I'm not a big fan. But, yeah, Charles Darwin, when he came back from his voyage of the Beagle, already thinking about things like natural selection and common ancestry, he was still a theist at that point by most accounts. I don't think anyone has been able to show that he was leaning towards agnosticism. And as was pointed out by Smitty, yeah, the reason that Darwin became an agnostic and not left theism was not because of his ideas about natural selection. It was specifically because of the problem of evil, because he could not square in his own mind the death of his daughter with the existence of an omnibenevolent, omnipotent God.
Also, I love how a lot of these young Earth grifters are like, oh, Darwin was a racist and he was blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, Darwin the abolitionist? Okay.
Yeah, I mean...
Have fun with that.
Yeah, he was an abolitionist, which was not the most popular opinion at the time. And yeah, by today's standards, he was absolutely racist. Good luck finding some guy from England in the 1850s who wasn't. So, I mean, if the criticism basically just comes down to Darwin was a white man in the 1850s, true. That is accurate. I cannot dispute. Yep.
Anyway, back to Ralph Wiggum.
Yes, back to Ralph. He actually even kind of looks like Ralph Wiggum.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, this is Ralph. This is future Ralph.
Highly offensive, because it is here to actually tear down the image of the Creator. And when you
I just can't. It's literally not the case. No one came up with.
Can we just skip to the part where he actually tries to make a point? Because honestly, this is just a bunch of cope.
Oh, hey, look, more continuous environmental.
How dare people question my religion? How dare they? Man, deal with it.
Can you believe that people don't think the same things he thinks?
I can't believe. How dare they? That's an affront.
Yes, it's basically a personal attack. They might as well have just killed his puppy.
Yeah.
Respect him.
But after kicking it.
Yes. Off a bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Lady Rorschach says, I've been meaning to ask you if you knew anything about Robert Bacher, famous paleontologist, and his background as an ordained minister. I can't gather a lot of information on the matter. I don't know much more than that he was, I believe, a Baptist preacher, but I'm not even positive about the Baptist. But I have seen at least pictures of him at a pulpit doing some preaching. And yeah, Robert T. Bacher is a pretty famous paleontologist. He is also I believe he's a part-time preacher. And yeah, he does not seem to see any big problem with being a Protestant preacher, as well as being a scientist who is not pretending that evolution. He does not seem to see that as a conflict, which is something he shares in common with Dr. Mary Schweitzer as well, who is actually a former young Earth creationist who abandoned young Earth creationism as she started to become, deeply involved in paleontology.
But she's still a Christian.
She is absolutely still a Christian. She's actually still a fairly...
you don't have to stop being a Christian if you're not a young Earth creationist.
It was a Pentecostal preacher, as a Savage Cobra kind of official.
Oh, that's very different.
Well, very different in some ways. not in all the ways. Like theologically.
Listen, look, I've... You know what? I'm just gonna bite my tongue for now.
Okay.
Good. Let's move on.
Yeah.
The idea is to get us to disrespect them as well. And so that's why we need to have a positive explanation.
Do you guys know that every evolutionary biology class that you take in college comes with grammatically obligatory blasphemy? It's just a thing. Yeah, every time you talk about phylogenetic trees and such, you're actually sinning against the Holy Spirit. That's what's happening right there.
Goodness.
It's an unforgivable sin.
It's the infernal dialect.
For how creatures are really adapting, because everything spins on adaptation. Just imagine, if creatures couldn't adapt, you could never get a theory of evolution going.
Yeah, that actually checks out. Yeah, I'll agree.
Okay, and...
So we have to be able to explain this adaptation. So I want to...
Yeah, that would be nice, Randy.
You do need to explain it.
Yeah.
Pick up, and I want to show you a couple pictures here. Remember we ended with these cavefish, all of these blind cavefish over here.
I do. I also remember having read the paper that he usually references. But also, hey, the Olm is back, and I love Olms, so I am just happy to see one. Like, Olm representation in biology talks, even if there's pseudoscience biology talks. I'm all about it. Olms are cool. right? That's that cave salamander that you can see doesn't have any eyes and it has a little like like gill fronds and whatnot. Yeah, they're great.
Also, I love what the fishmonger official says. Dapper Dinosaur, remember the good old days of Intro to Bio, starting every class with a Hail Darwin!
Yep, Hail Darwin, drawing pentagrams on the chalkboard, and, you know...
No, you're drawing the DNA double helix.
Yeah, well, you put that inside the pentagram, so you can summon the evolution demons.
Have Darwinius.
Yes. Oh, goodness.
So silly.
And, yeah, look, I'm glad that Olms are getting some love in the chat. Olms are so cool.
Very cool.
Also, you remember that guy who thought the dragons were real and he saw a blurry picture of an Olm and he was like, look, it's a picture of a dragon!
Yikes.
Goodness.
Couldn't be me.
Yeah. Alright, here we go.
Yikes.
Here, and I was explaining that they have mechanisms which enable them to track the environment all around them. And they have to have three elements. Three elements in them. The first was what? A sensor.
Solid, liquid, and gas.
The second
oh, sorry.
Goodness.
Was internal.
Fearmonger Official says, was that Roger? No, it was a guy who, he goes by some name that has like something to do with Christ or something, and he's like an apologist. He used to have a bigger presence online, but then like he deleted one of his channels, and now all I can find is like little archived bits. I wish I could remember. He's also the guy who listened to a recording of basically tiger noises being played over a loudspeaker in China and said that it was a dragon.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
And he's
so
like, look, all this crowd of Chinese people, they're amazed by this. And you actually listen in, and it's a crowd of Chinese people laughing and joking about Godzilla.
No.
They literally say Godzilla multiple times while they're talking about these quote-unquote dragon sounds. Like, come on, dude.
Cringe.
And then the next thing I did was, like, the first video I clicked on for tiger sounds had, like, an identical tiger sound in it. I was like, hey, look!
Oh.
It's a tiger!
Big kitties.
Oh, yes. All
Big
right,
several 100-pound stripy kitties.
Yes, who will eat your face?
Yes. Well, technically, they are averse to your face. That's how people in India specifically keep from being snuck upon by a tiger. They'll wear masks on the back of their head because tigers are ambush predators, and if they think that you're looking at them, they tend not to attack you.
I'm gonna get like a full, like, biblically accurate four-faced angel costume on to go if I need to go walking through tiger-infested forests, you know? That way, I will always be facing
You're
forward.
safe from all directions.
Yeah, exactly. Try to sneak up on the side. That's the eagle side. Other side, that's the bull side.
Wait, are you sure you want them to see a bird? Because they might think that's prey.
Yeah, but it's an eagle, though.
Okay, you test that out. Let me know how it goes.
Okay. All right. Savage Cobra Kinda Official for $5 says, Hail Darwin, full of knowledge. Natural selection is with thee. Blessed art thou among scientists, and blessed be the fruit of thy pen. Amen. Amazing. Thank you. Oh, goodness. I love it.
Good.
Now say that 9 times and end with an our Darwin, and, you know, then we can...
Aren't there other entities in the evolutionary pantheon that you... Like, is there a trinity, or is it, like... What do we got going on?
End it with an our Huxley. How about that?
Our Huxley?
Okay.
Wait a minute. It could be Galileo, because... You know,
that's
they were
the
talking
third
about Galileo
person.
being the father of astronomy or something like that.
That's the third person. Galileo comes into your heart when you accept evolution.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Does he make me instantaneously good at astrophotography? Because that would be very cool.
No, you have to work at it.
Oh.
But he'll help you.
Nuts.
You accept evolution, he'll come into your heart, and he'll slowly transform you into an astrophotographer.
I can photograph all stars through Galileo.
Yes.
Who focuses me and my telescope.
All right, here we go.
Logic, and they have to have a way to have output responses. And if creatures are programmed in the same way that
yeah, pretty big if.
When they will encounter a similar environment, they will have similar responses. And then you see here on the right-hand side of the screen, I pointed out that you end up with insects, you end up with crustaceans, you end up with fish and others.
Oh, so notice not pictured is an insect. No insect pictured. That's a myriapod. Myriapods aren't even crustaceans, which insects are. Mark Smith for $5 says, if you want to scare a tiger, you can use an image of a crane. Crane beats tiger.
Yes! Good.
All
right. I'm gonna go watch Karate Kid.
So here's a thing about this, right? This is basically just the argument that because convergent evolution exists, which again, it's a prediction from evolution, wasn't actually predicted by creationists until after it was discovered. So because this thing predicted by evolution exists, therefore evolution is false. Not the greatest argument, Randy. Not just gonna say it. Not the greatest argument. Oh, and yeah, bingo. DNA equals code. Good point.
A week there.
All right, here we go.
All having these similar responses. Now, this is the main thing, is that when we look at these different creatures, and I'll go ahead and push this down.
If you want to scare a tiger, cover Carol Baskin in sardine oil.
Whoa.
Oh, man. I thought that was if you wanted to scare Carol Baskin's husband.
Eek.
I'm not saying she killed her husband. I'm just saying, maybe.
Are you guys getting these different pictures?
Yes, Randy, I can see your pictures, yeah.
Yeah?
No, they're not.
Vandalian 1998, who's been a member for 30 months, my goodness, and is at the amniote level, thank you very much, says, and you can't accept any new scientific knowledge because that would be blasphemy to what we know. Yes, science ended with Huxley. I think he survived Darwin. Yeah, so late 19th century is where science ends. That's it.
Yeah, that's like, he's the Paul to Darwin. It's the apostle there. He's the last one.
Well, okay, but isn't, like, chronologically the Apocalypse of James likely the latest text in the New Testament?
Don't worry about it.
All right, never mind, sorry.
Oh, Dan, where is it? It's advancing on the side, but not advancing over on the picture. So Dan will come back. He'll.
Darn it, Dan! You had one job. One job, Dan. Come on, man.
Make sure that kind of advances to the next one here. I gotta go back to where we were.
Mark Smith is very correct. Chancla beats all when wielded by a mother. True, I can attest.
There we go. So, this is it. We need to get to the next picture.
Waiting on there.
Yep.
Catch up.
Almost. Come on, guys.
Almost got there.
This.
We're working on it.
PowerPoint is a very complicated program.
Yeah, pushing that forward button. Very difficult.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
He skipped a bunch of slides.
Hey, look, we're back to the Myrmecoid beetles. This is just a repeat of the last one. I'm going to be pretty pissed.
Yeah.
By that, I might
mean... Things that aren't ants.
Yeah. Now, by pretty pissed, I might mean that in the American way, or the British way, or maybe both. We'll have to wait and see.
I thought you weren't drinking alcohol, though.
Not today, but we're not going to get through his whole thing today. We only got 20 minutes left, and there's like 2 hours of this video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe next time I'll get pissed in the... Maybe this time I'll get pissed in the American sense, and the next time I can get pissed in the British sense.
Okay.
There you go.
Which side you're at?
Yeah, we'll go to
Hopefully it won't get pissed, like, in the Scottish sense, because I'm tired of that.
That's good.
Pissing down rain.
Now you're advancing.
Good. Oh, here we go.
Perfect. Thank you, Dan.
Thank
you very, very much.
Oh, hold on. We gotta check this source, because this might be a Trojan source, because it's Randy Galuzza, who loves to cite sources that literally say he's wrong.
Yeah.
So here we go. Cryptic variation.
When you only read the abstract.
Yes. Actually, in some cases, even the abstract is too much.
Mm-hmm.
Logical evolution. No, spell it right. There we go. Colon. HSP90 as a capacitor. That's an interesting choice of words there. Capacitor for loss of eyes in cave. That one word? Yeah, cavefish. Okay, here we go. Science.org. I'm gonna go ahead and real quickly pay for this access. That's totally what I'm doing. I'm definitely not dropping it into Sci-Hub, because that is, in fact, not something that anyone should do, because those poor
You're just getting it off Google Scholar. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, no, even then, I still have to pay for it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pay for it. And then I won't be taking bread off the plates of all of the poor, starving science journal editors and their families. So, anyway, here we go. We haven't seen what he's going to say about this yet, so I'm not going to read it yet, but I do have it pulled up so we can see it.
Are you going to also put it on the screen when you read it?
I would like to, but because I've just paid for it, definitely paid for it, and you guys haven't, I don't know if I'm allowed to rebroadcast it like that. That's definitely the reason that I'm hesitant.
Of course.
Yes, that's what's happening.
Good reminder.
Right.
Hey!
Oh,
you figured out how to PowerPoint.
This is like when the Fleur figures out how to tech.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll clarify.
Good. Hey, it went backwards, Dan. No, just teasing. Just teasing.
Oh, bad joke.
So, I talk about these fish, and you can do experiments on these fish. And when evolutionists see these fish, they specifically say that due to mutations, they have broken mechanisms. They have broken eyes, and they have broken pigmentation.
Well, the genes that tell the eyes to develop in embryo are broken. There's not broken eyes in there. There's not like a crack in an eyeball on this eyeless fish. The eyes just don't develop.
Yeah, are we going to go ahead and mark down changing population genetics as an evolution on our bingo card?
Because
I feel like that's coming.
I feel like it's coming. Wait till it does, though. Don't preempt it. Yeah.
Okay.
There's no pre-crime here in bingo.
But let's take a look at the eyes really, really quick. You can see there you have a sided fish at the top, and you have this pink hypopigmented, without the pigmentation, blind fish on the bottom. The reality is it doesn't take millions of years in order for them to lose their sight. This is an experimental paper that was published in 2013, which shows you that you have a sided fish at the top and a completely blind fish at the bottom, and that can happen in one generation.
Okay.
Did it happen in one generation? Let's hold on.
I doubt it, but as the fearmonger says, let him cook.
Okay, yeah, okay, we'll get a little bit more. I'm a little curious because, quite frankly, I'm seeing 4 fish that I suspect are actually from different generations themselves. So,
One generation. So that is telling you that the mechanism to lose eyes is not a broken mechanism. It is engineered within them.
I feel like it only takes one generation to actually break a Hawk's gene, but what do I know? I'm just a Ceratosaurus. I bite the head off a saurus.
In order to live inside a cave. And so then at ICR, we began to do work on the pigmentation. And this is what...
Okay, so we're moving on to pigmentation. So let's take a look at what the paper actually says, right? So this is Cryptic Variation in Morphological Evolution, HSP90 as a capacitor for loss of eyes in cavefish. So we'll read the abstract first, and we'll see how that goes. In the process of morphological evolution, the extent to which cryptic pre-existing variation provides a substrate for natural selection has been controversial. We provide evidence that heat shock protein, heat shock protein 90, that's HSP90, phenotypically masks standing eye-size variation in surface populations of cavefish, Astionex mexicanus. That's the Mexican. I think it's like tetra or something? I don't remember. It's a Mexican fish. Obviously, it's mexicanus, right? This variation is exposed by HSP90 inhibition and can be selected for, ultimately yielding a reduced eye phenotype even in the presence of full HSP90 activity. Raising surface fish under conditions found in caves taxes the HSP90 system, unmasking the same phenotypic variation as does direct inhibition of HSP90. These results suggest that cryptic variation played a role in the evolution of eye loss in cavefish and provide the first evidence for HSP90 as a capacitor for the morphological evolution in a natural setting. Okay, interesting. So apparently, if I'm understanding this correctly, and I'm not a geneticist, so maybe I'm not, there is to some degree in which the difference in environmental exposure to light actually reduces the degree to which HSP90 can mask underlying genetic variation in eye size. So, a long-standing question in evolutionary biology is the extent to which selection acts on pre-existing standing variation in a population as opposed to de novo mutations. Recent studies have indicated that both mechanisms have contributed to morphological evolution, which I would have guessed. Thus, although de novo mutations may exist and contribute to phenotypic evolution, a repeated use of standing variation has played an important role in the evolution of these fish. However, these observations also raise a critical question: how is genetic variation maintained in a population that is not adaptive before new selection conditions? Waddington proposed that the developmental processes are quite robust and produce the same phenotype regardless of binary genotypic variations, a phenomenon he termed canalization, I think, or canalization? I'm not sure. Canalization. Say it how you want, I guess. In such conditions, cryptic variations can accumulate and can be maintained without consequence. He further proposed, so we're getting differences in genotype that are not currently resulting in a difference in phenotype in the current environment. He further proposed that under certain environmental conditions, this property could be lost, decanalization, so because of some aspect of the environment, the underlying genetic differences are now expressing a phenotypic difference, resulting in expression of the cryptic variation on which selection could act, which means that now that there is an environment in which the differences in genotype are reflected in a difference in phenotype, the differences in phenotype can now be selected for by natural selection. Which means we're not talking about a single generation of losing eyes. We're talking about actual evolution with genetic variation in allele frequency over populations, or sorry, in a population over generations. Which is... That's the direct opposite of Randy Galuse's idea, right? That natural selection should be a thing? He's directly opposed to that, isn't he? Isn't that the whole point? Yeah, it is. More recently, Lindquist demonstrated that HSP90, heat shock protein 90, provides a molecular mechanism for buffering genetic variation and releasing it in response to environmental stress. HSP90 chaperone assists in the folding of proteins that are a metastable signal transducers, there you go, such as kinases, transcription factors, and ubiquitin ligases. HSP90 is normally present at much higher conditions than needed to maintain these proteins, allowing it to act as a buffer. Okay, so again, yeah, the HSP90, because it acts differently in the cave, because there's, not as much light, it allows the underlying smaller eye genotypes to actually express, which is interesting. And that's the first I'm hearing of this, despite the fact that I've already read several papers on these particular fish, like this species, like Astyanax mexicanus. I've read like 3 different papers on this because of Randy Galuso. For some reason, really, really loves these fish. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and say that is, yes, in fact, a Trojan source because it requires natural selection to be operating, and Randy is trying to use it as evidence against natural selection. So, yeah, let's keep going.
One of those cavefish looks like in real life. They're very white, they're very hypopigmented, and evolutionists would tell you that due to random genetic mutations, the mechanism to make pigmentation has been evolved away, or it's been destroyed. It's a complete loss of function.
What?
Oh, Randy.
Okay, fair.
In terms of that. But the
Mark Smith says, does
Randy, if Randy had read the paper,
which he never will,
what it meant, he would understand why what he said is real dumb.
Yes, he would, but he won't, and he can't. Mark Smith says, does this mean that changing population genetics? Does this give us changing population genetics isn't evolution? Yes, it absolutely does. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Time that I said, hey, are we about to get changing population genetics as an evolution?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we absolutely were.
But if creatures were designed to go into caves, they can be designed to go out of caves. So
that does not follow, but sure, why not? You might as well say, like, hey, if boats are designed to cross oceans, they're designed to cross shallow rivers. No, that's not necessarily true. That's very often not true.
They might be able to do that, but they're not gonna get very far. #ever given.
At least it didn't turn into a giant crab monster and destroy parts of Egypt.
Right.
This is a picture of the fish, and we
Hillary.
did experiments on this fish, and we put this fish back into simulated river conditions.
Okay.
And after 32 days, this is what that fish looks like.
Oh man, it's like if you
where
take
are the eyeballs?
Yeah, it didn't regrow eyeballs, but also, skin color tends to react to UV radiation. That's a thing.
Hey,
if you keep most humans in a cave for years, they'll get pale and pasty, and if you put them into the light, they'll get dark again.
What's melanin?
Right, who knows? This is made
What are
up.
melanocytes?
Yeah. Tanning. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that you're going to need to do more than show that fish can get a suntan in order to invalidate natural selection, Randy.
Nonsensical.
I know. Randy,
We took these people who lived in Iceland their entire lives and stuck them in, like,
Sao Paulo.
Belize.
Yeah, Belize. There you go.
And, wait, why are they getting sunburned? Why are they developing melanoma? What's going on?
Why is their skin darker now? Weird.
I don't know. It's a mystery.
You know what? This would be adorable if Randy were, like, 6. Right? But he's not. He's a grown-ass man. He should know better.
Wow. Quite remarkable.
Not really.
And this is real work that's being done by real creationists on these fish.
You know what? I believe you. I believe you. The creationists have taken some cavefish and found that, in fact, like many animals, their skin gets darker when exposed to more UV light.
Randy,
100%.
where are the eyeballs?
Yeah, that would be the significant change that I would like to see, too.
That's the first thing that I noticed, because I'm like, okay, whatever, melanocytes. Okay, but where are the eyes?
No one knows. Maybe that's coming up next. Maybe.
Okay. Maybe that's on the 35th day.
There you go.
This fish has gained her pigmentation back in 32 days. So the question is,
Sorry,
was her
so 33 is the magic Illuminati number? That's when you get eyeballs, because you can see,
Right, because like 33 UC, yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I get it.
Pigmentation system broken? No, it wasn't broken.
Okay, but you were talking about the eyes being broken, Randy. Where are the eyes?
It's telling you that these systems can be modulated. That is a big difference from broken.
You know what? Yeah, sure.
Dude.
I don't even know. Like, pointing out that cavefish have a system, like most animals, to change their skin pigmentation based on how much UV radiation they receive. I mean, it's really not very remarkable.
Savage Cobra, kinda official, writes, Randy Galuz isn't even taken seriously by other creationists.
True.
Well, Sal was just in the chat.
I
Getting all
actually
excited about how he just worked with Randy, so
that hung out with Randy at least. But
hung out with him.
I'll say this: Randy does catch.
I hang out with people I don't take seriously. Not
true. Look, I hang out with people I don't agree with, or some of whose ideas I don't take seriously. Right? Like I've
really brag about it, but hey, that's just me.
It's one of those things. Like, look, if I only hung out with people I agree with, I wouldn't have very many people to hang out with. Because I disagree with lots of people about lots of things. But here's the thing. It is true that he is catching a lot of flack from other young Earth creationists. Like, Jason Lyle left CMI, and there's a good reason to think it's because of this. Answers in Genesis...
His arguments are doo-doo.
No, he didn't leave CMI, sorry. He left ICR, which is what this is, ICR. Like, he's catching pushback from Answers in Genesis, who are fully on board with natural selection. There really aren't too many professional creationists who aren't currently employed by ICR who are on board for this. So
again, it's because his arguments are doo-doo.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to be worse at arguing biology than Answers in Genesis, but Randy's pulling it off.
He managed it,
yeah.
So...
I mean, it's almost impressive. Like, it's hard to be as
certain
wrong.
Value of the word.
Right. Look, it's hard to be as wrong as Ken Ham is, right? Like, that takes effort. To be this much more wrong takes a lot of effort. You gotta really try. This is like Olympic level wrongness.
I mean, he's converting, matter into energy right here. Or energy into matter. He's taken, his efforts and turning them into doo-doo arguments, but okay.
Well, actually, you know what? We're gonna get a little bit more in, and then we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna see just where he goes with this. Does he get to eyeballs? And we're probably gonna end it. And then, yeah.
Modulated systems are highly regulated, enabling creatures to rapidly self-adjust to different conditions. Now, that's quite a remarkable thing.
Yeah, I turn on my melanocytes too, at will.
Sometimes you even, like, open up your various glands and start leaking salty water out. because it's hot.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy thing. That's evolution disproved right there.
If my willpower stats are strong enough that day, I can actually blend into my surroundings like an octopus.
Pixar, it didn't happen on that one.
Would you know I'd blend in perfectly?
You have to take a series of pictures of you starting to blend in and then finally blending in.
No, it's instantaneous.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
Video or it didn't happen. There you go. All right, guys. We're going to wrap up here. Vishanti, do you have anything you want to make sure that people know about? Any videos coming up or anything?
I've got my wish list in, I think, the description.
Yes, you do. Let me double check, but I'm pretty sure you do. Yes, Vishanti's wish list. Amazon.com/stuff.
Random things up in there, so.
All right. Well, I will let you know that, let's see. So on...
Galileo 1998 made a super chat.
Yes, I will get that in just a second. We're just going to go through what's coming up, and then I will get the Vandalia 1998 super chat. Thank you very much, Vandalia. So on the 11th, we will be doing Kent with Bent. Bent owes a 2-2 once again. So we will hopefully be seeing the 2-2. Then on the 13th, we are doing Sal's Pal number 1 of 3. Darwin was big dumb. Which, I mean, Sal Cordova says he's going to be there for the premiere. So he's sort of the guest of honor for that one. I will be very interested to hear his take on it. Then on the 15th, probably just going to continue with Randy. Sorry.
Okay.
And that's
if
about...
you must.
I know, right? Then the 18th should be a Matt with Maddie. The 20th should be the final... the second part of Sal's Pal. Then I don't know what's happening on the 22nd. I am planning on being out of town that day. I might do something pre-recorded. I might try to do something on location. I'm not sure. So, there's a small possibility there just won't be anything that day. So, that's as far ahead as I'm going to look right now. I'm going to have to talk with numerous people about whether we should do something recorded or I should try to do something live on that day or what. Right.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll figure something out. Worst comes to worst, I never guarantee you guys 2 Saturday streams anyway. Technically, this is an optional stream. I just do it very, very frequently. Vandalia 1998 for $4.99 says, "There is you are wrong, but I still don't mind hanging out with you level. Then there is Kent Hovind level. Yeah, those are different levels, right? Like
true.
Look, it wasn't that long ago that Bent was a young Earth creationist. We hung out still.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah. Let's see. B 2022 says, "I, Dapper Dinosaur, being of sound mind and body, leave all my worldly goods to the Society for Tunicate." I do not, in fact, do that. I would have to not be. If I ever did that,
no take backsies.
If I ever did that, it would be proof positive that I was not in my sound mind, because my sound mind dislikes magic tunicates. Now, if they were like benthic tunicates, good God-fearing American tunicates, then sure, maybe I would. They probably deserve it, because they go stick their heads onto a rock, cement it there, digest their own brain, and grow into good adult tunicates, the way that tunicates are supposed to.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, they only have like 3 days of their larval form worth of life in them. If they don't like find a rock to stick to and dissolve their own brain, they just die.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, the life of a larval tunicate is quite a thing. All right. With that, guys, thank you very much. If you haven't hit like, please hit like, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. And I hope to see you all on Tuesday for Kent with Bent with a tutu.
Woo!
Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching, but before you go, I just want to say a special thank you to my channel members and my patrons, especially those pledging $20 or above. Bob Knob, Work in Progress, Bent Hovind, Tapioca Weasel, Denny5252, Eleron Teller, Furavara, Ian Chen, Landon Knoll, Mabdy Babby, San, Sphincter of Doom, The Venerable Bead, Scriptic Mystic, Dr. Tapioca Weasel, and Pat L. Dennis. As you probably know, YouTube is a very volatile platform, and from month to month my income on the channel can swing wildly. But the people you see on screen are directly supporting so that I don't have to worry too much about that, and the channel can keep going as it is, and perhaps even improving. If you'd like to join this team, there are links below to join the channel or in the description to join the Patreon. The Patreon starts as low as $1 a month, and the channel memberships start as low as $1.99 a month. On Patreon, you can even get a discount for pledging annually. If you do decide to pledge, you'll get access to an exclusive Discord server just for channel supporters, as well as early access to all of my pre-recorded videos, often up to 2 months in advance. Higher tiers will unlock even better perks. Now, if an annual or monthly pledge isn't right for you, but you still want to support the channel, there is a merch store down in the description, as well as an Amazon wishlist, just for me. And if financial support isn't something you can or want to do, then if you still want to help out the channel, please just like and share these videos and make sure you comment on them. It really helps the channel out. Thanks again for watching.